Okay, now that you understand some of the philosophy and the principles behind Facebook groups, let's talk about where you start. And what I don't want you to do is run out, get all excited. Oh, groups are awesome. Groups are going to be life changing, and start a ton of groups. Typically in marketing and communications, this is a bad idea. You get excited about Facebook pages, and now before you know it, you have 30 pages. It becomes a nightmare really quick. So when you think about groups, I want you to think about communities, and in some sense, think about a building. Really approach maybe how you build groups, how you multiply groups like you would a church in a church building. Would it be simpler to start off with one building until we're at capacity? And then out of strength and momentum, and when we have a lot of ability and volunteers, we launch another location, right? Right. So we want to launch out of momentum and strength and learn how to do it first small and then really multiply from there. You wouldn't think, okay, man, I've got this huge vision. I want to start 1,000 groups all across the world. Let's all launch 1,000 right now. No, we would say, hey, time out. What if we did one? We did it really well. We learned how to build it. And then when it made sense and we had another leadership team, we could launch 2 and then build to 1,000, okay? So that's one of the biggest mistakes churches make is you multiply way too quickly without doing it once, small, and learning and building from there. So think about it like a building. You wouldn't expand your sanctuary or launch multiple campuses until you could do it one really, really good. So that's what we want to do. Launch out of strength, launch out of momentum. So start small. We're going to start with one group. For most churches, I'm going to recommend let's start with a church-wide group. And when it comes to your name, just keep it pretty simple. If your name is Friendship Church, this is the Friendship Church group. In the description, we'll give you some examples and downloads here in the course of policies and introduction, description. Make it pretty simple. Hey, this is a group designed for people who attend Friendship Church or who call Summit Park Church their church home. So what we're doing initially in this group is creating a community for people who are connected at some level to Summit Park Church, Friendship Church, or whoever your church is. So we're going to start small. We're going to make it very clear, very simple. And then what I want you to encourage you to do is not just start inviting everybody. We actually, again, go back. We're going to start small. So I want you to start inviting a handful of people because when you're building communities, it's important that you build and develop the culture that you want to be replicated. So I start small here and let's get people in the group who are going to help build a really active and engaged culture and encouraging and positive uplifting. Because what we're going to do is we're going to test this out for a little bit because what's great with marketing and communications is you have the ability to test things. If it goes well, we're going to expand it. If it doesn't go well, then we never even need to launch it publicly. So we're going to go through this kind of beta testing phase. We're going to add a few people we think would be great in this group. We're going to develop culture in this group, which basically, what is this group like? What is this group not like? Because what you don't want to do, add a whole bunch of people in a room with no culture, no guidelines, no really plan or strategy, and then just let it go because that is a recipe for disaster. So you're going to start small, start with the right people, develop the right culture, get into a rhythm of what this is going to look like. And then if we start building out of momentum, we're going to launch out of strength and go bigger and add more people. What's important about this is as people are added to a group and a community where there's already a strong culture of what is right, what is acceptable, and what is not acceptable, people tend to fall in line with that culture without even a whole lot of training. They understand, hey, this is not a place to sell all my, essential oils or whatever it is. This is not a place for that type of marketing. This is a place where we pray and encourage and talk about the sermon. So it's really important that we start small, we develop culture, we test this out, and then we're going to talk about, once that goes well, how to launch and build from there. So that's the important part, and we'll see you in the next episode.